What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of your local podcast. Today is episode 32. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Jordan Hauser Digital. That is my video company here in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. If you and your company are in need of some video marketing content, you can check out greensburgvideo.com. There's a bunch of content out there for you guys to check out. And if you want to make a video with me, go ahead and hit that contact bar and shoot me a message. We'll plan something out and get you rolling. So check out greensburgvideo.com for all of your video and photography marketing needs. Or if you'd like to sponsor an episode of this very podcast, you can do so by reaching out to me at thelocal724.com and just head over to the contact page and fill out that form. So if you think your business is a good fit for the listeners of this show, go ahead and reach out at thelocal724.com. Today in studio, we have Lauren Buches. She's the executive director of the Latrobe Art Center. So strap in, get ready for a great show, and help me welcome Lauren. Welcome to the Local 724 podcast. In 3, 2, 1. Lauren Buches in the house. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I'm glad that we finally got you in here. It was a long time coming.
It was.
I think we started talking back in February or something like that.
I believe so, for an April show. And
oh my God. Yeah. So COVID problems. But yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the Art Center, what's going on these days, and what you do there?
Okay. Well, Latrobe Art Center, it's been in town since about 2002. It started as the brainchild of two local artists, Nancy Laney Rogers Crozier, the sister of Fred Rogers, and her friend Elizabeth Libby Ogden Hazlett. And they were watercolor, they were both watercolor artists, painted with the Latrobe Art League for years, which was in several buildings, kind of got shoved around some basements and things like that, and then kind of decided at one point, I think I've heard the story was, unfortunately both ladies have since passed away, so I haven't heard from them directly, but I've heard the story is that they were sitting in some basement listening to a lecture, and they're sitting behind a pillar. And they're like, this is ridiculous. We can't see anybody or do anything. And they also didn't like the fact they couldn't display their artwork anywhere. You know, they had made some great pieces, but, they're not going to go into the Westmoreland Museum of American Art here around the corner, necessarily, at least not for a while. So they thought, let's get our own place.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they got an old, a storefront. A business had just moved out a couple years ago, or before that, in 2002, and made a physical space. They were there for about 10 years, expanded classes, expanded the space, got the next storefront, added a cafe, then got the next storefront. So we're trying to take over the entire block eventually.
The whole block.
2 more to go.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a pretty impressive space. Like when you go down there and just, you get to walk from room to room and see like what all is available to look at and to purchase and things like that. Do you guys have, I guess pre-COVID, you guys were having, all kinds of classes and seminars and things like that?
So the inconvenient thing about this year in COVID was we'd actually held off on some of our winter classes because we were doing renovations in our main classroom space. Yeah. So we actually didn't start classes until about February, but normally we do start them in January. But we limited how many we were having. So thinking, but we'll just have them extend into March and April. Some of them are, several week-long classes, and others are just one-off classes. But that was kind of it. It was like, whoops, we got into March. I think one or two of our classes only got 1 or 2 classes in out of like a series of 6. Yeah. And then it was like, we thought we'd close for 2 weeks, and then it became longer, and then we just start calling people and asking if they wanted refunds. So, everybody else has been dealing with that too. Yeah, it's got to be insane just for like everybody. I mean, I know like on my end and things, it was just like I had a bunch of work lined up, and then all of a sudden it was just done, and I was like, oh, cool. How am I paying bills? So it was just like, and I don't know. I think there was like some sort of like security in the fact that everyone was going through it. So it was just kind of like, all right, well, I mean, what can I do? Well, that's kind of the thing. It's like, this is terrible, but it's kind of terrible together. So it's less lonely in some ways.
For sure. Absolutely.
Especially with other nonprofits like Greensburg Art Center, I know, is having the same issues we are. And, I'm sure Sama and Ligonier is having, the same issues. And Westmoreland's a bit of a bigger organization, so probably not quite the same, but
Right. Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that they probably have some padding to work through first.
Well, and they have more staff too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
But it's still the same thing. I've heard predictions that of nonprofits that who knows, but like 2/3 of nonprofits might close because of this. So you have to worry about that, but then you realize too you're kind of all in the same boat.
Yeah.
But it seems like donors and people have been very helpful and generous. So we just have to hope that our community is strong.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I mean, that's great that the community is still reaching out and doing what they can, even in a tough time like this. So that's pretty amazing. About, your shows and things like that, like what, how often were you guys having different shows and different exhibits? How often were those like getting refreshed?
So COVID has not really interrupted that, actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not too much. We have 2 major shows each year. The first one's called our annual open show. Mm-hmm. That one is in June, and that's open to anybody ages 3 and up.
3.
So
nice.
yeah, you know how to draw, you can enter the show. Cool. Mission fees $5 for the kids up until age 17, and then after that it gets a little pricier. But I think it's like $25. I should know this because this happened last month.
Yeah.
But and then for the more professional artists, so they can submit up to 2 pieces, and everything gets in the show. As long as it follows some basic guidelines that are on our website. And we normally just put it up and everyone enjoys it. We have an opening reception. It's great because you'll see that 5-year-old girl who sees her drawing up on the wall. And we have requirements. You can't just hand a piece of paper. You have to have it framed, ready to hang. So it's great because they get to see themselves up with all these professional artists as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we thought about it, we didn't know where things would be. But when we were playing this show, we were still in the red phase. So there was I think Governor Wolf had said that we were going into the yellow phase by May 18th, So we knew by about mid-May that we could probably have the show the way it was, but we kind of didn't want to have all the artists coming and bringing their artworks in as well. We thought that might actually be a deterrent since we were still in yellow. So we came up with a virtual show. So we just put it up on our website, made gallery spaces for each of the 5 categories that we have. And then we had a reception. We could have had the reception at that point because we were in the green phase, but we had no artworks in the art center. Yeah. So we decided just to do a virtual award ceremony, which was the judge gave us, all his criteria why he picked the pieces he did in each of the age categories and skill categories, and it was wonderful.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, like everybody has to adapt to these like odd things now. I mean, it's kind of what you have to do. And, I think the businesses out there that are doing it, they're, being more celebrated than others. I mean, it's just like, you have to make it easy on yourself. You have to make it easy on the community, your patrons, whoever is going to come in. Mm-hmm. But, it's a great thing. I mean, I say it a lot on the show, like, a lot of people were like, you can't work from home. You can't work from home. Like all my life in every job I've had, like, it's impossible. We can't do this. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's allowed to work from home. Everybody can work from home. It was possible all these years. But, it's just like, people that are adapting, it's very important. And especially like for the art world and stuff, like having those kids be able to, showcase their pieces with, more professional artists and things. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's pretty amazing, I think, just to see probably the look on a kid's face when he's just like standing there and he's like dressed up and he's like, yeah, this is my piece. And it's pretty neat. Yeah. What do you guys see, like, age range and stuff like that? Like from the kids, do you guys get like a lot of younger kids that are involved? We do. Now we more often than not see them through school groups, but that was all, canceled this year. But we do have some monthly one-off art classes through Latrobe Parks and Recreation. And then we do summer camps. In fact, we're trying in-person summer camps next week. Very small number of kids, though. Mm-hmm. So we're limiting it and doing health checks, when you enter and all that fun stuff. Yeah. But no, we get a good response with kids, definitely. But that's kind of the great thing about all this is that, like last year for the open show, for example, I saw some
artworks that were absolutely amazing. And, each judge is different for these shows. So I knew there was this one I loved. It was this Roberto Clemente sketch by
Oh, wow.
Yes. And the artist, I think like 9-10 years old, maybe, but it was beautiful. And I was really hoping it would actually get picked. Well, the artist or the judge did not go with that piece. Yeah. That's what happens. It's art subjective. So, but this year that same artist submitted some more pieces and has got first place for his age category.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, that's great.
Nice to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool to see young kids growing into the art world and things like that. Especially art and music, things that I think are just so important for kids. That's where me and my friends were. We were always giving up our study halls to go get an extra art class, or if I specifically dropped an accounting class and somehow they allowed me to take another art class. So I had 3 a day. And it was just it was awesome. And, it was just at that point, that's what I wanted to do. I knew that I wanted to do something creative, and that really fostered, that creativeness in me to move forward with it. It was really awesome.
Do you do any art yourself?
I do. Well, I'm a photographer. I've moved on to things that are, less fine art category stuff. It's
hey.
So yeah, I mean, photography
is being seriously considered, as an art form more so than it was before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awesome. I run my own video company.
Okay.
So I do a lot of advertising and things like that for local businesses and things. But I think I went art classes all the way up into college. I took some classes at 3Cs in the art, whatever that was called, the art club.
Okay.
And that's when I started submitting to shows and stuff. So I won a best of show for a photography at California University. And then when you guys opened, I submitted and I won first or second place in a photography competition there too. So
you could still submit artwork. It's just unfortunately, since you've won something already, you'd be in our professional art category.
That's all right.
Our amateur artists are actually artists who haven't won an award before. Yeah. So
it's really cool. I mean, it was a lot of fun because I remember to accept the award or whatever. I was working at Honda Village and I was detailing cars. I was like, can I please take 1 hour off? I drove to Latrobe, said thank you. It was okay, great. Back to detailing cars. I didn't even get to hang out. But yeah, it was awesome. And it really felt great to be able to go down there and have, I guess, your professional peers and stuff, looking at your stuff, congratulating you, talking to you, asking you questions about your craft, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. And it was just it's really cool. It's very inclusive, type of crowd that you guys get down there.
It is. And actually, we have a new partnership with Greensburg Art Center. Starting last year, we actually did a joint show with them. It's called Art Neighbors. So we had it at our art center last year, since we have a little more space than Greensburg Art Center to exhibit and display. We just wanted to see how it went. So they have it this year. They were going to have it March through the end of April, I think. And then, of course, COVID happened, so they scrapped that and changed the date to now the submission dates are due by August 1st. They hope to have the show up within the next week after that, and it should go, I think it should start out August 15th, I think, is the opening date, because that's also the night of the reception.
Oh, cool.
Well,
yeah.
They're hoping to have the reception in the parking lot outside, the gravel parking lot out there. So, we definitely will be there if we're still allowed to do all that. And we hope to have some food trucks and stuff just to sort of space things out and keep things sanitary.
That's awesome.
What they do there with their receptions is they make all their food. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, it's cool that even the TGIS, the music series from the Cultural Trust is they found a way to continue, and it's a little funny that they have to spray paint you into little blocks and stuff like that. But
here's your box.
Yeah, it's stay in the box and everything's good. And it's goofy, but it works. People are able to go and do things out in the community, and it's a lot of fun.
Seems like people are mostly respectful with all that too.
Yeah,
which is good.
Yeah, most people.
Yeah, well, you have those outliers,
right? Yeah. But as far as events and different things that you guys are brainstorming right now to take place in the future, like what are some of the things that you guys are doing, and then I guess some of the limitations that you guys have, for those things.
Well, to make another plug for an exhibition, we have our Fred Rogers Fine Arts annual Juried exhibition coming up in September, and you are a Wildcat, so you remember the art collection on the walls at Greater Latrobe High School. Well, this is one of the shows where artwork is selected to go into that collection.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So we get, it's a juried show, so everybody sends in pictures of their pieces, and the juror, this year it's Cecile Shellman. She used to be the diversity catalyst at the Carnegie Museums, and now she's a consultant for various arts organizations in Pittsburgh. And she's going to pick, about around 70 pieces or so. They're going to go into the show, and then she'll come back and actually judge the pieces for awards. Once we get them all in and all up. We've decided that one, we have to have the pieces physically there. Yeah. But we still plan to do a virtual show to supplement the physical show. And then we don't know if the reception will be virtual or not, but, we'll see what happens by September 9th. So, but the problem we have is that the students from the school district come in to judge the pieces themselves and select a couple to be considered in their collections. The elementary school is not just straight up buy the pieces, but the high school always comes in first. They make their selections, so we reserve those pieces for them. Then the junior high comes in, and then the elementary schools. The elementary schools ones can just, and I believe the junior high just straight up buy their pieces. But, at the senior high school, it's a selection process. Yeah. SAMA also has a show in November that they do the same thing. It's also pieces selected. And pieces do get in both shows, too. So some of the stuff that gets in at SAMA that didn't get selected ends up at our show. It might get selected the second time around. So, that's kind of cool. But we have to figure out how to do it virtually, though, because I talked to the school district, and they did say, we're probably not going to have the kids come out just for their safety. So we can do that. We can have polls online with the pictures, and the student council can select them. And then whoever has the most votes, that goes into the collection or, gets selected to be considered to go into the collection.
That's awesome.
So we're adapting that way. And then virtual classes is really kind of the next goal. Really. So we're planning some painting classes, where everyone picks up the supplies ahead of time, and then we either get them a live Zoom link or do something pre-recorded if it's, fairly easy to follow. And then benefit of Zoom, of course, you can ask questions as they go along there. But, our instructors have been very adaptable, too. They're willing to talk to anybody who does have questions if they're stuck on something, even if it's pre-recorded. So we've been experimenting with it and seeing how it's going. So
yeah, it's pretty neat. I mean, there's multiple ways to do it. I could imagine you guys would probably, if you did a pre-recorded thing, you could probably put that in a Facebook group or something and, go through and respond to questions that way.
We did a test run with oil painting, actually, with Doreen Curry.
How did it go?
It went very well. It was received very well. So it was great. She did a 40-minute, instructional video on how to paint a bird's nest, and it was received very well. There were a couple questions somebody had, but we just forwarded them to Doreen, and she was able to answer them again.
Nice.
And the great thing about oil painting is you can kind of stop there and pick it up later.
Yeah.
Watercolor is harder to do with that sort of thing. It's sort of have to get it done while you're doing it. You can touch some things up, but sometimes you really have to work with that stuff as it's happening. So, that's probably going to be more of a live Zoom thing, but yeah, we're working on it.
A lot of people are doing it. I know, a bunch of businesses, like some yoga people and, any kind of dance classes. People are doing what they can to do some kind of live Facebook or live a Zoom thing, like a Zoom call or something. But it's all, it's all about adapting. At the beginning
of all this, that was the thing. I'm kind of the most tech-savvy person at the Art Center, which is probably not saying a whole lot. So when this all started, we didn't really know. I didn't know how to video edit, and we managed to crank out a bunch of videos with supplies that you can have at home. So we were really focusing not on paint so much as drawing and craft and that sort of thing. But it was great, just the response we got. We even asked some of our artists, hey, do you want to do a quick tutorial on something? And we had some of them did some watercolor ones. We had someone do thumbprint art. It was great.
Yeah. That's really neat. And then even for kids that are staying home and parents that have to sit there and watch the kids, and maybe they're not doing a full day's worth of school, some art activities and things like that would be pretty fantastic. I'm speaking from experience here. But yeah, I think like that would be really neat to have like, hey, for the next 40 minutes or something like that, you guys are going to go on and like do this like cool activity and things. I think that would be really neat. And, it's just, again, it's just like community coming together and doing things to really kind of keep themselves current still and, to help out, people out in the community that are struggling to watch their kids, keep them busy. You can only play so many video games.
Even keep them connected. We actually also had a virtual open studio. Every Thursday we have something called Open Studio, and it's just the artists come in and paint or, work on whatever. Sometimes they just sit there and eat lunch.
Yeah.
But of course, when we were closed, we didn't have that. So we started doing like a weekly Zoom meeting. Mm-hmm. Well, I think maybe one artist actually did any artwork during that because it was mostly just catching up with people for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, how you doing? What's going on? And I miss you. And I haven't left the house in this long. And this is how much my hair is getting gray up here.
Right, yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. And actually, I was kind of sad when we shut that down, but once we got back into the art center, it was really kind of hard to keep it going because we'd be trying to do the business at the art center while still being on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
So it'd be awkward situations where I'd just get up and walk to deal with a customer. So I'd have
be
an
right
empty
back.
chair. Yes.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your background as far as like art goes. How did you become, the head honcho down there?
Well, here's the thing. Everyone thinks I'm an artist. I am not.
Oh, yeah?
I'm actually more of a crafter. I just like nonprofits. My background, I have a bachelor's in journalism and a bachelor in history. I was going to be a history professor. That was my big goal. And then I went to Pitt and I got a fellowship that helped me. It was a grad level project and I did a history project. And I kind of realized after doing it, I don't think I want to be a professor. Like, this isn't the kind of work I really want to do, all this research and such. It's cool, but, it just wasn't for me. So then it was kind of like, well, dang, I'm in my senior year, and what do I do now? So I actually have bounced around. I was at Buches Run Battlefield for the first year that they were no longer run by the state. I was their museum facilitator. Okay. And then I bounced around to working for a small business as a kind of catch-all, jack of all trades, and then I ended up at the Carnegie Museums of Art and Natural History for 3.5 years.
Nice. Yeah.
So in the marketing department. So,
very cool.
Yeah. So that was kind of my creative bit. Was actually I'm more of a creative writer, so coming up with how to phrase things in a way that's interesting to people was really quite a nice challenge, and that's kind of what my chops are. Really, I was kind of more hired for the fact that I'm more of a marketer and a
good copywriter.
Yeah. So I think they were looking for an administrator when they were hiring than an artist, but the funny thing is actually, I think we only really have one serious artist on our staff, and that's our staff member, Seth Rupert.
Oh, cool.
Everybody else, we'll do like all the instructional painting stuff, but none of us can, my stick figures are about the best I can do.
What does Seth do? What's his medium?
He actually, he teaches kind of all of our kids' classes for the most part. So, pretty much any kind of medium, watercolor stuff, acrylic stuff, just drawing, that sort of thing. But he kind of focuses more on, just painting for kids. Mm-hmm. I've never seen him do an oil or anything like that. I'm not sure if he has, but he'll work with oil pastels and things like that too, and comes up with some really creative projects.
It's a lot of fun. I remember just like, having my 3 art classes a day, and like I was just like constantly working on like different projects and things, and I played with painting and things like that. I wasn't really great at it. I had to do like I'd grid out like a canvas and kind of like, trace it. Oh, well, not trace it, but kind of like go little by little, like grid it out.
Yeah.
And that worked for me. Like I took drawing classes in college, and I was terrible at drawing. Like I'm just not a fine artist. But I think like I did take painting classes in college, and I thought they were like so much fun.
Yeah.
My professor, he really kind of understood that I wanted to do things that were like kind of non-traditional, just kind of like very abstract stuff, because that's how I got creative. So like we were just doing like a lot of like tape I would put like tape up and like cover it and then pull that and then put different designs on it with different colors and things.
Kind of see what the result would be.
Yeah.
Huh?
And just like, and then I started doing kind of like more like geometric stuff. Like I would kind of like pattern stuff out and do different things. So it was kind of like, it would look weird. Color combinations that were kind of like mess with your eyes a little bit, and it would look like kind of 3D-ish or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was really cool. I always think about like, especially during the quarantine, I was like, man, I should really just like paint something. Like, why not? Like, give it a shot. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's always time.
Art though, like that's the thing. Like, I love it. I'm just not particularly skilled. Now, of course, if I took some classes, I'm pretty sure I'd at least get somewhat, okay there. But the thing is, like I said, I'm a crafter, so I find it very relaxing to sit and just like make some paper flowers, or something like that. I sew too, so. Not that good. Nobody can commission me for any outfits or anything, but but we, what was it? When I was at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, they had a Frozen Day. So I kind of did the whole like,
that's cool.
Knock on the door of the program person there and said, "Hey, if I make an Elsa costume, can I be Elsa?"
There you go.
Never been so popular in my entire life.
Oh, I bet. You were probably surrounded for days.
And the costume definitely looks like knockoff Elsa, but that's okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
Disney's not coming after me.
Yeah, you've got a long time for that to become public domain.
Exactly. But, it's just, it's being creative is just so comforting. And it really was during quarantine, too. We kind of like, all had to go home all at once. And Seth, we weren't able to get him really hooked up to start doing tutorials until a couple weeks into it. So at first I was kind of doing
that was real hard.
That was hard.
That was tough to like really kind of think like logistically, okay, I need a webcam. Is the audio decent enough on this thing? Like, are people going to be able to hear me, or am I shouting? Like, if you back up from a mic, you've got that like terrible space there that you can hear. And it's just like, what am I going to do? And like, you don't want people to say this sucks. So you have to like,
like you're like, I'm going to do it. I want to do it well.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, lighting was the hard part for me. Yep. It was because I'm in a spare bedroom in my house with all these lights. Oh my, it was so much adjusting, stand up, go, turn on the camera, come back down, see how it looks. Cause I had to do it all by myself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's tough. Window light, that's what I keep telling people. Like, I make YouTube videos too about like how to light and how to do camera work and stuff like that.
Oh, I wish I'd had those.
Right? I'm always telling people like, sit by a window, sit right beside a window, and you're pretty much good. Like, that'll take care of 90% of the work.
Oh, well, that's why the one location my house, that room worked so well.
There you go.
It was next to a window.
Yep, window light. It's awesome. You'll see like a lot of like Hollywood people that, like the Office Ladies podcast and stuff like that. Like, if you have seen any of that. Yes. They're always kind of like in their closets or whatever. And I just assume because of the lighting, I don't know, maybe Jenna Fisher can light, but it seems like what's in front of her is a window. Like, because you can see like everything is just so nice and flat and like everything's just so natural. But yeah, I'd be surprised if that was actually a light panel. I don't know. Maybe it is. She's pretty awesome.
She is.
Yeah. But I mean, like, do you guys have like much planned for the future, or kind of just inching along, or?
Well, we're trying to plan more for virtual classes, and we're trying more. Actually, one of the projects Seth came up with, we want to do a Baby Yoda painting for the second season of The Mandalorian coming out. So
very popular.
Exactly. And the great thing about that is normally have a program a class called Pop the Cork, which is supposed to be for ages 21 plus. You come in.
What do you do there?
You just bring your own like glass of wine. What do you think you do there?
A little bit of wine, huh?
It's a little bit of a paint by numbers thing, a little more skilled than that, obviously. Yeah. But the great thing is you can crank, it's like something painting with a twist or something like that. You can crank out a painting in like 2.5 hours, and it looks pretty decent.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really fun. Like when you get to a space or like a class or something like that where they break it down into just like basic shapes. It's like, oh, put like a little S here. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, I can do that.
Yeah.
And, 2 hours later, it's a tree or something like that.
It's a tree with leaves, and it doesn't look crazy.
Right, yeah.
Or like broccoli.
Yeah, broccoli.
Yes.
That's the majority of my trees. Yeah.
Those were my trees as a kid. I don't do trees so much anymore. They're probably still broccoli.
That's awesome. That's really neat that, you guys are able to keep coming up with these ideas and like keep things flowing. But
and then we're hoping people can pick up the supplies at the art center and then just take it home and do it on their own time.
So do you guys provide like the paint and the brushes and all of that stuff? Or
we're still figuring out what to do with the brushes because they're kind of expensive. So we're thinking maybe we just do a loan program with that. Put a deposit down. Here's your brushes. You don't bring them back. We keep the deposit.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So that's kind of what we were thinking. Or even doing like a series, like if you sign up for 4 of them, we'll get you a package, deal on that. And then you can take all the supplies at once and, it might be cheaper that way. So we're still sort of playing around how that's going to go exactly. But Seth's planning the other projects too. And the great thing too is like, the Baby Yoda, like adults and kids could do that and still be great. Not all of our paintings are exactly like that when we do those. So I know he's also coming up with like a Nightmare Before Christmas one for Halloween, and
that would be awesome. Our boys would like that a lot.
Nice.
Definitely
big fans.
Oh yeah, they like what's his name, Jack
Skellington.
Yep, Jack.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so cool that and everybody is having to do this. Everyone's having to adapt, and at first it was really hard for the kids to like kind of understand that they didn't always have this like someone looking over their shoulder constantly. So it was hard to keep up with the work that they had to do. And
you were teaching, weren't you?
Not me. I work from home also. Okay. So we had my wife's sister was able to work from our house.
Oh wow!
And so she worked a couple days a week, and then would facilitate the teaching or whatever.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. It was pretty intense. I had to step in occasionally when there were meltdowns and stuff. But
it happens.
It happens. But, it was tough because, our youngest one, he's just he didn't understand that you could type something and get it done because they had the option. You could either write it and mail it, or you could type it and just email it.
Okay.
He was fixated with the fact that he had to handwrite this thing, and I was like, no, you really don't. Don't worry about it, just type it. It's like, that's not what it says. And I'm like, no, it says this or I'm sitting there circling with my finger the word or, and he's just like, no. And I was like, I'm gonna lose my mind. It's insane. And
how do I explain this to you in a way you understand?
Yeah, that was oh my god, that was early April, and I was just like, Jesus, this is gonna be terrible forever. But they got used to it, and I'm kind of seeing the summer just fly by at breakneck speeds, and I'm like, oh man, here we go. It's going to happen again.
Yeah, it's going to happen round 2.
Yeah, seriously. That's what, and we're looking for things like this, activities and things like that they can do because, especially the older one, he rips through his homework in 20 minutes. He's just done. And then it's can I go play video games? And it's dude, don't sit up there and do that all day. You have to do other things and stuff. So yeah, things like this I think are going to be fun. And they're both interested in art. They draw a lot and,
nice.
They do some creative things and make crafts and stuff like that. So I think this will be good for them.
Well, the other thing too is in Latrobe, you've heard of the Great American Banana Split celebration.
Oh yeah, a couple times.
They're trying to make it virtual now. So we were asked to do an art tutorial for that. So Seth has a banana split art tutorial.
Yeah.
And we made sure it was supplies from home for that one as well. So to make it more accessible. Not everybody can go out to the store and buy stuff.
Yeah, especially now.
A pack of crayons or a pack of colored pencils and paper and stuff. You're good to go with this one. So we're still going to be filming that very shortly here, and then have that up on the festival website whenever they do that festival.
Sweet.
So I'm interested to see how it's going to go virtually.
Yeah, honestly. Absolutely. There's no end in sight. So it's just kind of and even though, if we do get to go back to normal, we still now have these avenues where it's maybe people can't leave the house for different reasons. They can still be involved in things. Businesses got an extra, revenue stream or got a little bit more creative to be able to like, broaden their horizons, to everybody.
And Latrobe, it really did spur some of the businesses to create online shops, really, which not all of them had or didn't have to a great extent. And, we're looking now, moving everything online too, like having our artwork that's up for sale in the art center, trying to get that online if we can.
Yeah.
So, it's really something we wanted to do, but we were looking maybe a year or two down the road or something. This really is spurring us to try to keep up,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing, actually.
I don't think so either. I mean, it's, we talk about it, me and like business people that, I'm friends with or have on the show. We sit and we talk about like, like Twitter, who like came out and just said like, hey, if you guys want to work from home, work from home. I mean, it's enabling businesses to finally realize that, hey, maybe they don't have to pay all this rent every single month for this building or, something like that. And then people, it's just like, if I don't have to spend, $1 million in gas driving to Pittsburgh every single day for a year,
yes.
and then parking. I mean, there's places down there that don't even provide their employees parking. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. That's like $200 or $300 a month that you're spending on parking.
Oh yeah.
That's nuts.
It really is. And it honestly, like my fiance works from home and he works at in downtown Pittsburgh. He's been loving this because, he doesn't have to drive an hour in 15 minutes when it's good traffic to get there. Yeah. An hour and 15 to get back home. He's not out of the house for 12 hours a day. And then he doesn't have to deal with, the only expense I feel like we've really incurred is just he drinks more coffee at home.
That's right, yeah.
So we were going through coffee like crazy, which we weren't before. But other than that, he has everything set up and we're not planning on bringing them back anytime soon,
Yeah.
And this was a company that didn't think that work from home was quite a viable option until they were forced to make it a viable option.
Right. Yeah.
And it seems like it's going well for the most part.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I think that like, companies are now seeing that like there is a way to do it. They can trust their employees, because employees are just like, I feel like they're just like, no, I swear to God, I'll do it. I'll do my work. I'll do it. And they were just like, no, we're not going to try it. Well, they got forced to try it. And now it's like, okay, everything's okay. Like we're still doing, everyone's getting their work done and things like that.
Well, that was the thing. Like we had our employees working from home and honestly, like I never had any issues. It wasn't, if I'd asked for something, I'd be like, well, here's the deadline, put in the hours when you can, and it was great. Like I know the one, I might do a call and follow up and see how they're doing. And our one staff member, Jada, I'd be like, well, how's this thing going? And she'd be like, oh, I'm just going to work on some of it tonight. Like she could have worked on it whenever she felt like, and just trust her to put those hours in, and she didn't have to do that 9 to 5. She could do it at 8 at night if she felt like it.
It's nice. I mean, like sometimes when I used to work for video down at American Eagle. I was a video director down there for a while.
Okay.
So there were some times that like in the morning, I wasn't feeling my most creative. I wasn't like, so it would have been nice to be able to say like, you know what, I'm going to go, I don't know, go run or go do this or go take a bike ride, get woken up, like, feel my alive first. And then I'm going to sit down and like, edit this video or do something like that.
Oh, my best work hours are like 10 at night to 3 in the morning.
Yeah. Honestly, like I really zone in around like, this time in the afternoon and, I can work all, past dinner and things like that. Like this is my area right now.
Your sweet spot.
Yep. This is where I'm at.
Nice.
But yeah, it's nice to see that people are, able to do it now and everybody's kind of, adjusting to it. I don't know. It's pretty important to have the option, to keep your job, obviously. So, I mean, it's pretty nice to watch people like just doing, their own thing and being more responsible for their own lives and things.
Well, and I think people stayed connected too. Like I'd spend some full work days on the phone with people, just checking in and seeing how they're doing, whether it was artists or, our patrons or, even some of the local businesses and such. And like, it was just, everyone kept connected. It was great. Mm-hmm. I kind of missed that because I feel like, we went back into the Art Center May 18th and, we've seen those people in person, but in some ways it's like everyone's still kind of doing their own things now. And,
Everything was working so well.
Well, pluses and minuses.
Yeah, definitely. Do you guys have anything else that you wanted to throw out, like as far as events or plugs or anything like that?
Well, everything's always changing every day, but our cafe's open. Eucalyptus Cafe in the Art Center. If you haven't been, it's open 10 to 5. Rita is a legit Italian lady from Italy.
Fantastic food.
Oh, yeah.
It's like the best food ever.
The soups are amazing.
Soups, the salads, the sandwiches are insane.
I especially recommend the stracciatella soup and the caprese sandwich.
Yeah.
But all of her specials are amazing. I think she had chicken cacciatore yesterday, which was really good.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah. But, they were doing takeout throughout all this. That was a little awkward, though, because since the art center was closed, but the cafe was open at some points during the quarantine, like we had to put dividers up on the doorways to the second and third galleries. But, and put some signs up and stuff. But, people, did take the takeout up until things opened up again. And then that business kind of died off rather quickly. She still does takeout if requested. It's just she was buying specialty to-go dinners and such. And she hasn't done that so much anymore. So, But you can always call ahead and arrange something with her, too. She's very flexible and easy. So, on that score.
So awesome. Yeah. I have... one of my big clients is Adelphi. So those girls are down there constantly getting lunch. Nice. But anytime we have a shoot, that's where we have lunch and we're down and I go nuts. I'm just I want this I always forget how big the salads are.
I know.
I always go down and I'm like, oh yeah, just give me a chicken salad. And then all of a sudden it sits down and it's humongous.
Okay, I have a tray now of green stuff.
It's so big. It's insane. And the first time I went with my mom, who works down at the administration building down there.
Okay.
So we walked up, had lunch, and I got soup and a salad. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do? I just ordered lunch and dinner.
Oh, she gives so much food. In fact, there was a point, people might hate me for saying this, but there was a point we were just Rita, you might need to raise the prices just a little bit because you're practically giving this food away.
Right, yeah. It's not expensive at all. It's so awesome. Everyone should go try that food. It's so good.
Yeah, that neighborhood salad, I can make 2 meals out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
It's amazing. Speaking of the neighborhood, you guys do sell some Fred Rogers merchandise over there. I got myself a mug. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah. Sweater changing mug?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one I got.
That is awesome. Oh, we have Post-it notes now. Sticky notes. I guess Post-it's branded. So with sweaters and, Mr. Roger characters and stuff like that. Yeah. So on some of the Funko Pop characters. So we have him with a green sweater with a trolley, and also him, the Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers Funko Pop one too. So he's got a Daniel Tiger puppet in his hand.
That's awesome.
So that was fun though because we get that stuff partially through the McFeely Rogers Foundation in town. They provide some of that stuff, but then we go and find other merchandise and we'll supplement that too. We got T-shirts too. Nice. All these great T-shirts. Some that are strictly Latrobe, some that are. More just Mr. Rogers, some Daniel Tiger plushies. It's great. And that's stuff we really hope to get once we get an online shop going too. Yeah. We'll probably start with that, the Mr. Rogers stuff first, since it'll be easier to ship than the artworks.
Yeah. I was thinking about that when you were saying it. I was like, man,
we have shipped before. It just becomes very complicated. So we need to streamline it a little bit. But Mr. Rogers stuff's much easier to ship. So.
Oh yeah.
We were supposed to have Mr. Rogers Family Day this year in June, and then it got canceled. Yep. But
we were all supposed to go. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was just one of those things we didn't know how to, and because it's one of those events where it's not something we really make money off of. It's just more of a community thing. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people, so many volunteers putting their time and effort into this, so having it virtually was kind of going to be hard because that's more investment we have to make, and somehow do it that way. So maybe next year, if we have to make it virtual, we will, but fingers crossed that,
Yeah, let's hope this is gone.
But we still do have the Mr. Rogers merchandise there still. So I love it.
Yeah,
I need an easy gift, one of those sweater changing mugs. goes on my list.
Yeah, that thing's awesome. So I've never actually even used it. I have it sitting we have a china closet, and I have like a bunch of cool mugs and stuff up there. Like I have the Christmas Vacation, like the glass moose mug.
Okay.
I've got that. I've got my Mr. Rogers mug up there. There's a couple other ones up there. Pretty fun stuff. I don't know when I turned old and started collecting coffee mugs and stuff, but here I am.
You turn into your parents somehow.
Yeah, I've seen those commercials on TV. But yeah, do you have anything else?
I mean, I say just keep checking our website, latrobeartcenter.org. When we put classes up, they'll go up on there. You can sign up for our email list on there as well. And our social media, we're very active on social media. You know, you can tell though it's a busy week if all you see are our Art of the Day posts. But the thing is, you can see what kind of artwork we do sell at the Art Center through there. And we actually sold some pieces through social media before. So
that's cool.
You know, and that's great. All of our artists, they're local and regional artists for the most part. We have a couple that are, you know, expats from Latrobe who want to have their artwork displayed there. But everyone's so talented. It's wonderful to see the artworks that they really come up with. And we see them improve year after year, too. So please, if you haven't checked us out, please do. We'll get everything up on our website, you know, gradually, and we'll work as this continuing pandemic situation progresses.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes. You guys are Latrobe Art Center on Facebook?
Yes. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Yes. And we have a YouTube channel too, so you can check out our tutorials we created over quarantine on there, but it's also on our website. Last thing too. Well, we do have a fundraiser coming up. We actually have a fundraiser over here at the Jameson Farm in Latrobe. It's just a night of just eating delicious food that they make. So if you really like lamb, it's perfect. Now it is $100 a plate, but it's on the farm. They have outdoor seating there. And, you know, I just talked to Suki Jameson yesterday. They're able to socially distance everybody. So
that's fantastic.
You know, staff wears the mask, they have the gloves. They normally they would have everything like 2 lines of picnic tables, but now they're breaking them off into groups. So, you know, it'll be a little more intimate that way.
Yeah.
But it's a wonderful event. This is my 3rd year going to that event, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm glad we're still able to have it.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
We'll
be limiting the number of people. You know, even though it's outdoors, we still will be limiting the number of people, so it's safe for everybody.
Yeah, and that information for that is that's on your website?
latrobeartcenter.org. The event is on, I should know this off the top of my head, July 25th or 26th. Which one's a Sunday? One of those. The 26th.
Okay.
So July 26th, 5 to 8 p.m., and all the proceeds go directly to the Art Center. This is something that Jameson Farms does for us for free to raise money. So John and Suki are amazing. Very awesome. Really sweet. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate that you drove the whole way here from Latrobe so far away. Well, thank you, Jordan. Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we finally got you on. It's been we've been, you know, getting back and forth at each other, you know, over Facebook and stuff for a while, so glad that it happened. Well, I'm glad to have this conversation. It's a lot of fun just talking about the Art Center without any real set agenda, you know? Yeah, absolutely. So. All right. Well, thanks so much. Okay, thank you. All right, there she goes, Lauren Bunches from the Latrobe Art Center. You can connect with the Latrobe Art Center through Facebook and Instagram, and you can check them out at the latrobeartcenter.org. All of those links are down in the show notes, so go ahead and check them out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this show. If you did, go ahead and give this a share. You can help out local businesses and nonprofits and podcasts. Hint, hint. I hope you guys really enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you next week.